Life is full of change. While some things stay the same, most of our problems and worries will eventually disappear. Think about the things that troubled you a few years ago. Most likely, those worries have already faded. Every season of life brings new challenges, different opportunities, and fresh experiences. We all face issues related to our job, family, health, or age, but these challenges won't last forever. They come and go. Life is a journey filled with ups and downs. We all experience moments of joy, sadness, and challenges that seem too big to handle. But in these times, God's Word reminds us that nothing lasts forever. The simple phrase, "This too shall pass," offers hope, reminding us that every struggle is temporary. This video shares timeless truths to guide you through tough moments. It's here to encourage you, offer comfort, and remind you that brighter days are ahead, no matter how difficult things seem. This too shall pass. Daniel 3, verse 17. If the God whom we serve exists, then he is able to deliver us from the blazing fiery furnace and from your hand, O King. Oh, how the flames roared that day, dearly beloved. The heat was relentless, the fire fierce, and everything about it seemed certain to consume. The three who stood there, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, felt the searing heat, saw the intensity of the blaze that stretched high into the sky. Every eye was on them, every heart expecting them to fall. Then a surprising turn of events unfolded. When the flames should have swallowed them whole, they remained untouched, walking freely in what should have been their end. Life can feel like that. As though you've been cast into a furnace, as if everything around you blazes with a heat you can't bear. There are moments when it seems impossible to endure, moments when the weight of it all presses so hard against you that breathing feels like a luxury. But look closer, my child, for in that very place where you think the fire will take you, that's where I do the most miraculous work. You've been fighting, wrestling with fears, doubts, and uncertainties that seem to have no end. Every corner you turn feels like another wall. Every step forward feels like you're sinking into quicksand. And yet, here you stand, still standing, still breathing. That's no accident. That's resilience being birthed within you. The fire is real, yes, but it doesn't get the final say. Just as I stood in the midst of that fiery furnace with my 3 children, unaffected, I speak into your situation now. The flames that rage around you, they have an expiration date. They were never meant to be your forever. The very heat that tries to consume you is refining something deep within, molding, shaping, preparing. You may not see it now, but there's a purpose in this season, and there's a strength rising within you that only the fire could bring forth. Lift your eyes from the flames for a moment. What you're facing isn't meant to destroy you. It's meant to reveal the power that dwells within you, the unyielding spirit that refuses to be broken. Just as the flames couldn't singe a hair on those three, this trial will not consume you. The heat may intensify, but so does your strength. Soon, the fire will fade, and when it does, you'll find that you're still standing, untouched, unbroken, and more radiant than ever before. First Peter 5, verse 10. But may the God of all grace, who called us to his eternal glory by Christ Jesus, after you have suffered a while, perfect, establish, strengthen, and settle you. Beloved, yes, you are experiencing the weight of it, those questions swirling around in your head. It's as if the world is spinning, and you're caught in the middle, trying to find your footing. It feels endless and overwhelming, like this chapter will never close. However, I want you to hear this with every ounce of your being. This is not the end. This too shall pass. Think about all the times you faced storms before. They were fierce and unrelenting, but they didn't last forever, did they? And neither will this one. You've been called to something far greater beyond this current struggle. What you're facing isn't a punishment, it's preparation. It's molding you, shaping you, building something within you that you can't yet comprehend. Yes, it hurts. Yes, it's hard. But there's a transformation happening beneath the surface. You're being strengthened, established, grounded in ways that only this kind of challenge can bring about. And as you navigate through the darkness, there's a refining fire that's working to bring out the gold within you. You may not feel it now, but every step you take, every moment you endure, is moving you closer to the light. There will come a day when you'll look back on this season and see how it was the turning point, how it became the catalyst that set you on a path toward something extraordinary. And as difficult as it seems now, there's a greater glory unfolding that's beyond your current understanding. You don't need to have all the answers. You don't need to know how it will all work out. It's okay to feel uncertain, to feel lost, to question. Because even in the uncertainty, there's a grace that will carry you, a strength that will lift you, and a peace that will anchor you. So, breathe. Take it one step, one moment at a time. Let the process unfold, knowing there's more to this story than what you're experiencing. You're being perfected, established, strengthened, and soon, very soon, you will find yourself standing on the other side of this trial, stronger, wiser, and more settled than you've ever been. And when that moment comes, you'll see that it always led you to something greater. Psalm 30, verse 5. For his anger lasts only a moment, but his favor lasts a lifetime. Weeping may stay for the night, but rejoicing comes in the morning. Child, you wonder how much more you can endure, how many more nights you'll face without answers. I see your heart, heavy as it may be right now. But before I go any further, I want to tell you something about the path that you are currently on. It is not without a purpose, and it is not without an end. There's a finish line, even when you can't see it yet. There are days when the clouds seem relentless and days when the storm feels endless. You ask yourself, will this ever let up? And it's okay to ask that, to feel every bit of that frustration and fear. But here's a secret woven into the very fabric of life. Every storm runs out of rain. Every night surrenders to the morning. You weren't meant to be stuck in this moment forever. There's a strength within you that has yet to be fully realized, a resilience that the trials of today are merely refining, not destroying. You may feel cracked, even shattered, but that's where the light finds its way in. Yes, the pain is real, but so is the promise of a brighter day. And I assure you, the joy that's waiting on the other side is greater than any sorrow you've ever known. You're not defined by this hardship, nor are you bound by this struggle. It's just a chapter, not the whole story. You might feel like you're walking through the fire right now, but the fire has a way of forging, purifying, and turning the ordinary into something extraordinary. So lift your eyes, lift that weary heart. You're moving through this, not standing still in it. And as surely as the sun rises, always without fail, there's a dawn breaking over your life too. The tears you've cried, the questions you've whispered into the night, they haven't gone unnoticed. They're the seeds of your strength, the foundation of the joy that's coming. And that joy, it's not a fleeting happiness, but a deep, abiding sense of peace that can only be born from walking through the storm and coming out on the other side. Beloved, hold on a little longer. Yes, this moment is hard, but it won't last forever. This too shall pass, and when it does, you'll find that you've not only survived, you've grown, thrived, and stepped into a light that shines brighter than you ever thought possible. Second Timothy 4, verses 17 to 18. But the Lord stood by me and strengthened me, so that through me the message would be fully proclaimed, and all the Gentiles would hear it. So I was delivered from the mouth of the lion. And the Lord will rescue me from every evil action, and bring me safely into his heavenly kingdom. To him be the glory forever and ever. Amen. Listen, dear child, life isn't always smooth sailing. It gets messy, tangled, unpredictable, and sometimes it feels like you're right there, standing in the middle of a storm that doesn't seem to let up. But storms don't last forever. They never have, and they never will. What you're facing, no matter how it roars or how deep it feels, it's not eternal. Remember the days when you felt like you couldn't take another step, those times when it looked like everything around you was closing in on you. Yet here you are, still standing, still breathing. You've come through more than you often give yourself credit for, and that's not by chance. There's a strength within you that refuses to break, a resilience that shines even when the darkness seems overwhelming. I see every tear you've shed, every battle you've fought, and the weight you've carried on your shoulders. You might feel like you're wrestling with lions right now, staring down fear, doubt, and pain. It's fierce, I know. But there's a purpose even in this chaos. Each struggle and heartache is forging something incredible within you, something unshakable. It's molding you into someone who can stand tall, weather any storm, and knows deep down that they're more than conquerors. This isn't just a random series of events. No, it's all part of a journey that's refining, stretching, and pulling you towards something greater. And when the dust settles, you'll see it. How the battles you fought have made you braver, how the pain you felt has made you more compassionate, how every tear has watered the ground for something beautiful to grow. There's a horizon ahead, brighter than you can imagine. And this moment, this hardship, it's just a passing cloud. The sun is still shining behind it, waiting to break through. So when it feels like the world is pressing down, when every step feels heavy, keep moving. Keep believing that something greater is on the other side of this. You will rise from this, not just as you were, but stronger, bolder, and more radiant than ever. This, too, shall pass. When it does, you'll see just how far you've come. Second Corinthians 4, verses 17 to 18. For our light affliction, which is for the moment, worketh for us more and more exceedingly an eternal weight of glory, while we look not at the things which are seen, but at the things which are not seen. For the things which are seen are temporal, but the things which are not seen are eternal. My precious child, here you stand, wondering if this is all there is, if the struggle will ever give way to peace. This is not the end, though, and I must tell you that. No matter how unyielding it feels, it's just a chapter, not the entire story. Every tear, every sigh, every whispered prayer in the darkness, they're all part of this journey, but they're not the destination. Your struggles are not here to define you, only to refine you. They're shaping you, molding you, and preparing you for something far greater than you can see. You may wonder why it's so hard, why the path feels so steep and like you're walking through fire. Yet the fire isn't here to burn you. It's here to purify you, to strip away the fears and doubts that have taken root over time. In this process, a strength you didn't know existed within you is awakening. You might not feel it now, but one day you'll realize that this struggle was the catalyst for a transformation you never thought possible. Lift your gaze, child. Look beyond the temporary, beyond what your eyes can see, beyond what your heart feels in this very moment. There's an unseen glory, a beauty unfolding that's so much greater than the pain you're enduring. These challenges are working within you, crafting a strength, a resilience, a faith that stands unshaken. What's visible now is just a fraction of the bigger picture. This pain, it's not here to stay. It's passing, even when it feels endless. And when it does pass, you'll find yourself standing taller, stronger, with a spirit that shines brighter than before. This moment is but a breath, a flicker in the vastness of eternity. So, hold on, dear one. The things that matter most, the things that last, are being born from this very place. You are being made into something glorious, and this affliction, it's just the beginning of something beautiful. First Samuel 17, verse 37. Moreover, David said, "The Lord, who delivered me from the paw of the lion and from the paw of the bear, he will deliver me from the hand of this Philistine." And Saul said to David, "Go, and the Lord be with you." Beloved child, it's so easy to think that this challenge, this pain, this confusion is all there is. That somehow it's going to last forever. But just as night gives way to dawn, so will this moment give way to something greater. Remember David, standing before that towering giant, Goliath. It seemed impossible. A young shepherd against a seasoned warrior, the odds stacked against him. But no one else saw that David wasn't standing there alone. The same power that delivered him from the claws of the lion and the bear was present, ready to do the impossible. And that's where things shifted. You might feel like you're up against something too big, too fierce, too overwhelming. Maybe it's a problem that's been gnawing at you, or a fear that's kept you up night after night. It could be the uncertainty of what comes next, the endless what-ifs circling in your mind. And that's okay to feel, because, oh, how real those moments are. How they seem to stretch on, making you wonder if there will ever be a break, a breath, a bit of relief. But let me remind you of this. No battle lasts forever. No storm continues without end. In the same way David faced his giant and watched it fall, you will also see the obstacles before you crumble. It may not happen as you expect. It may not even happen when you think it should, but know that there is an end to this chapter. There's a reason why I brought you this far, why you're still standing, even when the ground felt like it was giving way. I've woven strength into your very being and resilience into your bones. And just as David was sent forward with those simple words, "Go, and the Lord be with you," there's a purpose to every step you take right now. It's shaping, preparing and molding you into something far greater than you can see. Keep pressing forward, beloved. The light you're searching for is closer than you think, and this moment, as daunting as it feels, will pass. You're being led to a victory that's already yours, and soon you'll look back and see how this very trial became the testimony of your triumph. Psalm 37, verse 7. Be still before the Lord and wait patiently for him. Do not fret when people succeed in their ways, when they carry out their wicked schemes. The world around you might feel loud right now, dear beloved, filled with noise, chaos, and uncertainty. Maybe it feels like others are moving ahead, while you're standing still, caught in this endless loop of questions and doubts. You see those who seem to succeed without care, who thrive while disregarding everything that's good, and it shakes you to your core. But their paths, no matter how grand they appear, are like a mist that fades when the sun rises. Patience is not always easy. You want answers, clarity, some kind of sign that tells you it's all going to be okay. And yet, sometimes, it's in the waiting that the deepest growth happens. It's in those moments when you think you can't take another step that strength is born. It's in the silence that courage finds its voice. And let's be real, courage doesn't always roar. Sometimes, it's the quiet resolve to take just one more step, to breathe through the heaviness, to face another day. Understand that the pain, confusion, and uncertainty are not here to stay. Even the darkest night must bow to the morning light. You may not see the way right now, but there's a path being carved out for you, one that leads to peace, joy, and a deeper understanding of yourself. And when you look back, you'll realize that this season, this trial, wasn't meant to break you, but to build something incredible within you. You're not defined by what's happening around you. You're not confined by the opinions of others or the whispers of fear. There's more ahead, more than you could ever imagine. So be still, wait patiently, and let the storm pass. For soon, you'll find that it was never the end. It was just a stepping stone to something greater. James 5, verse 11. As you know, we count as blessed those who have persevered. You have heard of Job's perseverance and have seen what the Lord finally brought about. The Lord is full of compassion and mercy. Life may be relentless, squeezing you until you feel like nothing is left. This instant, this struggle, this ache in your heart won't last forever. Take a second to consider Job. He faced trials that would have crushed most, stripped of everything, left with nothing but his pain. And yet, at the center of all that chaos, something astonishing unfolded. He didn't let his pain define him. He didn't surrender to the despair. He held on. He kept moving. And what did he find? That I was still there, still working, still crafting a purpose out of his pain. What was lost was restored. What was broken was mended. And what seemed impossible became possible. That's the power of perseverance. You see, life has this rhythm, moments of breaking, followed by moments of healing. The storm may rage now, but storms never last forever. And oh, how the sky clears when they pass. You've been caught in the downpour, the wind battering against you, but there's a calm coming, a stillness where all things find their peace again. There's something beautiful about the process, even if it doesn't feel beautiful right now. Like a seed buried in the ground, covered in darkness, waiting. It's easy to think that's all there is, that the darkness is all you'll ever know. But seeds weren't meant to stay buried. They break through. They rise. And when they do, they'd blossom into something greater than what they once were. That's what's happening with you, even if you can't see it yet. Your perseverance isn't in vain. Every tear, every sleepless night, every cry that's escaped your lips, none of it is wasted. It's all shaping you, molding you into something resilient, something unshakable. Yes, it's hard. Yes, it hurts. But there's a promise in this. What you're going through now is preparing you for what's coming. And what's coming? Oh, it's worth every ounce of pain. Hold on a little longer, beloved. The storm is passing, the dawn is approaching, and your story, it's far from over. Second Corinthians 1, verse 10. He has delivered us from such a deadly peril, and he will deliver us again. On him we have set our hope that he will continue to deliver us. You feel overwhelmed, dear child, like the weight of it all might crush you. It's hard to breathe when the world is spinning out of control. But let me tell you, you're not lost in this chaos. I've seen every tear, every moment of doubt, and every cry that escaped your lips when you thought no one was listening. And even now, when it feels like the walls are closing in, there's something you need to understand. This moment, this struggle, it has an expiration date. It won't last forever. You've walked through fires before and faced battles you thought would break you. And yet here you stand. That wasn't by accident. You weren't abandoned then, and you're not abandoned now. Just as surely as the sun rises and sets, your deliverance is already in motion. Even when everything around you seems uncertain, I am certain of this. There is a way through, and you're going to find it. You might be thinking, but how? How can I possibly overcome this when everything feels so impossible? That's the very thing that makes your journey so powerful. When it's darkest, that's when the light begins to shine the brightest. You may not see it now, but there's a shift coming, a breakthrough waiting just beyond the horizon. And it's closer than you think. I've seen you muster strength when you had none left. I've watched you rise after every fall. And this time will be no different. The fear, the anxiety, the uncertainty, it doesn't have the final say. There's a purpose to this moment, even if you can't make sense of it right now. Every challenge shapes, refines, and prepares you for the greater things ahead. And let me tell you, there's more ahead than you could ever imagine. More joy, more peace, more strength. What you're facing now is not the end of your story. It's just one chapter. One chapter that will soon give way to something greater. So lift your head, let your heart find rest, and believe that the very things that seek to pull you under are the same things that will raise you higher. This too shall pass. You're not defined by this storm. You're destined to rise above it. And when you do, you'll look back and realize that every step, terror, and doubt was leading you to something beautiful beyond what you ever thought possible. Romans 8, verse 18. I consider that our present sufferings are not worth comparing with the glory that will be revealed in us. You feel the weight, that heaviness pressing against your chest, those thoughts swirling in your mind like a storm that won't settle. It's easy to get lost in it, to think this is all there is, that the darkness might swallow you whole. But pause for a moment, because there's something you need to hear. What you're going through right now, it's not permanent. This pain, this confusion, this feeling of being stuck, it won't last forever. Life makes the tough moments seem endless, stretching them out until you feel like you can't breathe. But there's more to this journey than what's happening right now. There's more to your story than this chapter of tears and unanswered questions. You see, every season has its time. The storm clouds might be thick, the rain might be pouring, but seasons change. Just as night always gives way to dawn, your situation will shift and the sun will rise again. There will be a day when you'll look back and realize that what you thought would break you made way for something incredibly beautiful that couldn't have been born any other way. You may not understand it now. It might not make sense. It rarely does when you're in the middle of it. And that's okay. It's okay not to have all the answers, feel uncertain, or be overwhelmed. You're human after all. But your story isn't finished yet. There's a strength within you that's being forged in this fire. And when this passes, and it will, you'll find yourself stronger, wiser, and more radiant than you ever imagined. Child, take one more step, just one more. When the tears fall, let them, but keep moving. When your heart feels heavy, acknowledge it, but don't let it root you in place. This moment is shaping you, refining you, but it isn't defining you. A glory is coming, a brilliant light that today's shadows will seem like nothing more than a distant memory. Hold on, not just to survive, but to see the miracle that's waiting on the other side of this. Because one day soon, you'll look back and say, this too has passed, and what's left will be something you'll cherish more than you can ever understand right now.